yeah, so we can share also with those who would like to listen to that later on. So good evening, everyone, once again. So my name is Karina. I'm a partner at Ladvi Consulting, a talent acquisition and HR consulting company. We are based in Dubai. And today the topic of our webinar is starting a business in Saudi Arabia and really looking into the HR perspective of it, from labor law to building the dream team. And today with us is a very special guest, Zainab. Zainab, maybe you will tell a little bit about yourself, your background, so it was also more fun, comfortable, and interesting to know you.
Thank you, Karina, and hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here with all of you today. My name is Zainab. I'm originally from Saudi. I wouldn't say I'm an HR expert, but I have 18 years of experience in HR and admin as well, and specialized in for Saudi Arabia, specifically for Saudi Arabia, helping the companies to start up their business in Saudi and setting up their manpower plan and helping to recruit Saudi and non-Saudis also as well to, within their company in Saudi Arabia. And I'm here today to share with you an insight about the changes and what's going on in terms of labor law, Saudization, and nitakat as well, to help the companies like you to set up your business within Saudi Arabia itself.
Great, thank you, Zainab. I'm sure the content will be really interesting and useful.
So,
so just to highlight very briefly that here at Ladvi Consulting, we are specialized in various sectors of HR support, starting from talent acquisition, HR operations, people strategy, and talent solutions. So Zainab already mentioned the plan for today, but just very briefly, administrative moment. So we are planning the duration of the webinar is 1 hour. So by 6 p.m. Dubai time, we shall complete. If you have any questions, please feel free to send the questions in the chat. Also, every few slides, every block of slides, we are planning to make a pause just to review the questions and answer all the queries. And yes, the session is being recorded, so we can also share with those who are not able to join with us today. Just to start with a very brief overview about Saudi market. So as per the data of 2024, so the population of Saudi Arabia is already more than 35.1 million, which represented the growth of more than 4% over the previous year, with the major cities driving economic activity as Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dammam. The fastest growing industries are information technology and communication, renewable energy. So Saudi is investing, as Zainab mentioned, a lot into the solar and wind energy. It has smart cities, retail, and e-commerce as well. So under the vision of 2030, Saudi government has ambitious plans to foster the growth of non-oil sectors and the private sectors like tourism, entertainment, and finance. Of course, they are also significantly investing in the infrastructure, including transportation and logistics, which makes it more easier for connectivity and business operations. And Saudi government presents various incentives to attract foreign investment, including tax benefits, grants, and subsidies. Though oil sector still represents approximately 42%, the service sectors represent around 36%, manufacturing 13%, and construction around 6%. But as I mentioned, the sectors are growing. And what was really interesting that around 184 headquarters were established in 2024 in Saudi, and more than 160 new companies, commercial records were issued last year. So interesting, of course, we thought how difficult it is to actually start a business in Saudi. Though the point of this presentation is not to go deep into the company formation, but just to highlight, we wanted to say that, yes, there is 100% of foreign ownership, which is possible in many sectors, but some sectors still require a Saudi partner, that the business setup duration starts from 4 weeks, but can take more depending on approval and other documents. The most common company structure is LLC. And regarding the capital investment, it really varies depending on the industry and depending on the owners as well. So it requires approval. So coming closer to the topic of our presentation today, so Zainab will take over, reviewing the moments of Saudization, Nitakat system, and Saudi labor law. So Zainab.
Okay, thank you, Karina. In terms of Saudization and the Saudi market itself, right now, Ministry of Ministry of Human Resources develop a Saudization program. Saudization program is the main umbrella to enhance hiring Saudis, reduce unemployment Saudi national, and train them and retain them as well. There are different initiatives from Saudi itself that help the companies to hire Saudis, such as Tamhir program and HRDF. Tamhir program, give a brief about Tamhir program. Tamhir program is helping to hire a fresh graduate and train them from within a 3-month to 6-month period, and the government will pay will award them for getting this training within your organization. It's not a company that will cover the cost, the government will cover the cost. The other program, which is HRDF or other initiatives, which means hiring Saudi national with getting a help from the government that they will pay 30% of their salaries, just to help the companies in hiring Saudi national and train them and retain them as well. These are very great initiatives from Saudi, and it helped the Saudization itself program. And under this umbrella, there is also they create this Ministry of Human Resources create an Itaqat system, which is basically now through KSA system. Create an Itaqat system, which is basically classified the number of visa that will be issued based on each sector and their activities, and also help the companies to hire Saudis as well. There is a Nitaqat system. You can identify or you can find 3 components on it, which is Saudization ratio. Another one is company classification. If it is, we have 6 different zones, started from platinum, which is the high zone, until the red zone, which is the latest zone. Platinum zone will get a lot of initiatives. One of them, one of the initiatives, or I would say incentive, that the companies will get a lot more visa than other companies in the same sector. It will also help them to hire Saudis and reduce the cost of the visa for expats. These also another initiatives that Saudi Arabia has issues to help the companies to come to Saudi and grow within Saudi Arabia, and also to help them to hire Saudis as well. Number of visa, and it depends on the type of activities that once you start your business, you will see it in the system, in the KSA system. You will see how many visa you will be entitled at the beginning. And then when you hire Saudis, you will be also seeing how many points, I would say how many points to be added for you to help you to get more visa in the future and bring some non-Saudis to the country. If you feel that we don't have as a Saudi company, as a Saudi country, we don't have the skills that you are looking for. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, in terms of Saudi labor law, as we mentioned, it's all these initiatives created by Human Resource and Social Development Ministry. Saudi labor law defined the relationship between the employee and the employer. It started from creating the employment contract. And now with Qiwa system, the employment contract need to be immediately added in the system and that contract need to identify different factors or different elements, such as type of contract, if it is a fixed contract or unlimited contract, the duration of the contract as well, the job roles, the compensation, which is basically define the basic salary and other allowances such as housing and transportation allowances. Also, it should be defined the working hours in the contract, because in Saudi we have it's basically, as per the law, the company can let the employee work for 48 hours, but the practice in Saudi right now is 40 hours per week. Also, for example, the overtime need to be identified in the contract. If it is not identified in the contract, then we should follow the labor law, what is written in the labor law system itself. During Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, the Muslims they work for 6 hours instead of eight hours a day.
And regarding the dates, is it like the week is starting from Sunday, right?
The week starts from Sunday until Thursday, and the weekend, usually the weekend, Friday and Saturday. But for some companies, as an example, they work 6 days a week. So they can start from Saturday to Thursday. But Friday, it must be a weekend day.
Okay, great.
Also, we'll talk about here from the labor law, they define the wages and benefits for different positions. Like, for example, for Saudis, the minimum salary starts from 4,000 riyal. Also, if the Saudi has a bachelor degree in engineering, then the salary will be started from 7,000 riyal. If it is less than 7,000, then the company might get a penalty for not aligning with the Ministry of Labor, the labor law regulation. For expats, there is no minimum salary, but the practice here, the minimum salary for, I would say, the normal laborers or the blue collar is started from 1,500 riyal. But the practice usual now, they change it a lot. So the minimum started from 1,800 riyal instead of 1,500 riyal. The annual leave as per the labor law is 21 days, working days, 21 working days. But the practice here from the companies, they do it 25 working days or 30 days. So 30 days means 21 working days to be specific. So you need to specify in the contract itself if it is 30 calendar days or 30 working days. And that is where a lot of misunderstanding between the employee and the employer itself is when it comes to the annual leave. Yeah. In terms of termination and end of service benefit, termination for any contract need to be justified. And there is a different reason you can terminate a contract on. And if you didn't meet the criteria for each reason, then the government will will raise a penalty if the justification is not valid for the company.
And
but
what
the end
could
of
be a
service
reasonable justification, for example?
unreasonable, for example, if they mention that he is not he didn't come up or come to office, or he doesn't show in the office. This is unreasonable. If you didn't provide the daily report shows that he is not there. Like most of the companies, if they want to make sure that the employee they are in their office on time, they have to create a system for punch in and punch out. And based on that, they can evaluate the employee and they can terminate the contract. But if they didn't approve it, or if they didn't have anything, then this is considered as invalid reason, and the company has to pay penalty. And it might force sometimes, for some cases, Ministry of Labor will force the company to return the employee to his job.
Interesting.
End of service benefit will be calculated only after the employee completed 2 years of service within the company. And if there is any case or a misagreement between the employee and the employee has the right to file a case against the employer and the Ministry of Labor, and the company has to respond within 20 working days. Now, for work permit and visa regulation, it's all now in KSA system. So basically, any expats cannot work in Saudi Arabia without a work visa and provided by the company that they will work with. So, and the company has to make sure that the employee has a valid iqama, and they have to renew it every year. And based on the renewal, also the employment contract for expats need to be renewed in KSA. Also, the employee cannot leave the country if he doesn't have exit re-entry visa, which can be multiple or single entry to KSA. So for some cases, like if there is a sales engineer, as an example, required to travel a lot to do his job required to travel to other country in Middle East or any other country, he has to get the company has to issue an exit re-entry visa for him to allow him to perform his job. And now, recently, I would say in the last 2 years, we see a lot of increase of the female in the job, like requirement to have a female on the work as well. And also the initiatives from the recent announcement from the Ministry of Labor that the job should be equal, and there is no preference either male or female, and the wages should be equal for both of them, which is really a good change for us because we were suffering before with this thing in Saudi. But right now, it is Saudi Arabia is doing a lot of changes and benefit both parties, to be honest, the company and the employee itself. Also, another things need to be keep in our consideration, which is GUSI or social insurance. For social insurance is when you register the employee in KSA, it will reflect to a social insurance platform, which is a contribution. It will be a contribution in case if the company hire a Saudi national, it will be a mutual contribution between the employee and the employer itself. For example, if he is a Saudi, the employee will pay 9.75 from his wage, and the company will cover 11.75% from the employee to wage, which is just housing and basic salary. If it is in case of expats, the company will have to pay the 2% fully without deducting any of the expat employee salary.
Okay. So we don't have, I think, many comments, so we can continue. with the recruiting. Yeah.
Okay. So recruiting in Saudi Arabia, there is a question, Karina.
Yes. Is there such justification for the termination of employment contract as improper performance when after the probation an employee shows weak efforts to meet the KPIs? How shall an employer prove that what documents can be as evidence? So basically performance basis.
Okay, in this case, there is if the employee complete his probationary period, I would say, which is the probationary period, it depends right now in the contract if you define it 3 months or 6 months. 6 months. If the employee in any case complete the probationary period and you didn't, as a company, you didn't communicate with him that he is performing, his performance is not up to the company standard, then the company has to go with the employee through performance improvement plan, which is give him a chance for the 3 months, and every month has to review his performance and share with him a written letter if he didn't perform well, that he didn't perform well for this such of reason. That letter should be signed and sent by email and handed over to the employee. Also, the next month will be the same. The company need to evaluate the employee with the specific goals. And if he didn't perform well as well, he has to raise another letter as a warning letter that his performance is not up to the company standard. The third month, before he complete the third month, you can, as a company, you are obliged to terminate his contract, the employee contract. This is one of the case. Otherwise, the other one, if you want to terminate the contract immediately and your company is allowing to do so, you need to pay 2 months salary. If he didn't come after a probationary period, you can terminate his contract immediately, but with paying 2 months salary as a notice period, because you didn't give him a notice in advance that you will terminate his contract. If the employee complete 2 years or let's say 4 years within the organization and the company decide to terminate his contract without a valid reason, then the employer must pay the employee his right plus his end of service benefit plus what do you call it, a salary for 15 days for each year the employee served the company, because that is an unjustifiable reason for terminating his contract.
Okay, thank you. And also, Janab, I think we had a discussion, an interesting point that, yeah, the contracts, let's say for the expats are usually duration 1 year, right? And
Yeah.
if, let's say, the person is terminated earlier than the contract expiry, so is there in the law the point that says that the employer shall still pay full term salary and all the fees to the employee until the end of the contract, even if he is terminated earlier?
Yes, I agree. Yes, that is true. If an expat, if you decide, for example, to terminate an expat employee, then you need to check the validity of his iqama. If the iqama is, for example, will expire in 7 months, then the company has to pay him until for all the 7 months, plus 2 months as a notice period.
And is there a chance for the company to manage this situation? And how shall they manage it?
Unfortunately, there is no chance. If the company decide to go, I don't recommend the company to let the company go for an immediate termination. I feel for some reason, it depends on the case. For some cases, the employee is not the right. He is not in his right place. So when you do investigation and have a chat with his boss and the employee itself, you will find you can create a performance improvement plan. Within this performance improvement plan, as I mentioned it before, will have the same cases as in Saudi national case. He has to go through this, but even though the company has to pay him until the end of the contract if he refused to sign any of the letter. That is for expats. For Saudi, it doesn't matter if he signed the letter or not. As long as you send the letter to the employee, that is done. You notify the employee and that's it. But for the expats, he came to Saudi to work for this certain period of time, and the company has to pay him until the end of his contract. Otherwise, the company has to find another opportunity for him if they don't want to lose this time or this period of like paying him without any benefit. They can put him in a different assignment until they terminate his contract.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So shall we move to the recruiting? How is it like in Saudi these days?
Well, everyone is focusing in hiring Saudis, and some of the companies, to be honest, they hire Saudi just for a Saudization purpose. And which is really, for me, it's not the right approach, because at the end, you need people to be there to help you to grow within Saudi, and you need the local. You need the local. Saudi Arabia give you a chance to come and operate and open your entity in Saudi, with also give you a task to develop their citizens. So if you will hire just for a Saudization purpose, you will face a lot of a problem, which we really saw this in for some companies. They are facing a lot of issues by terminating the contract of the people who has been hired for a Saudization purpose, and also to bring Saudis within the organization and retain them. And now also Saudi nationals are looking for the compensation for their expectation is a competitive salary, benefits such as medical, bonuses, and career growth. This is what matters for Saudi nationals, to be honest. For expats, they are looking more for stability within the country, because it's really now the land of opportunities for Saudis and for expats, especially with the golden visa that they can apply for and they can get it. It will give them a stability. Still there is a lot of things to be done within the golden visa, but expats usually they are coming now to Saudi looking for the golden visa, a chance to apply for a golden visa and to have a stable job as well.
Okay. And speaking about like where to find the best talent, I think it's the question that every company will face one day once they want to grow in the region.
Well, we have a local job platform such as HRDF as an example. This is a really for a Saudi national. If any company want to target Saudis, they can reach to Human Resource Development Fund. Also, LinkedIn now is really a great platform in Saudi, and most of Saudis and non-Saudis are in LinkedIn. But for a local platform, also we have Nakri Gulf and Gulf Talent. These are the main channels that any company can go and search for Saudis. If the company are looking for fresh graduates or skills people with a diploma as an example, then the right channel is going through to a university, direct to a university and a college here in Saudi. Especially in Eastern region, we have King Fahd Petroleum University and Jubail College. These are really skills people. They graduated with the skills. because I was working with a manufacturing company as an example. So they target people with, such as a welder as an example, from this college, because it will give them a lot of, it will minimize the time of it, train them and put them in a job.
Okay, true.
Also, most of the companies now are using international recruitment agencies to hire either expats or Saudis.
And I guess many companies will also face the question if it's easier for some roles to relocate an employee or to find a talent there. So maybe we can also
That is
highlight this.
yeah, that is a really tricky question because, for example, if you want to, you open a business in Saudi, and you want to bring people. I know Qiwa portal, as an example, or Ministry of Labor will give you a quota or number of visa that you can bring non-Saudis to Saudi and let them work. But also the company need to keep in mind that before to bring people, you need to check which position you can hire people. Like we have certain positions that should be only for Saudis. They can't hire expats on these positions. For example, human resource positions, admin positions. There is also a certain percentage for each field, as a finance, as an example. You have a quota on finance, you need to apply it in order to bring expats. So for finance, you have to hire at least 35 Saudis on that department. Legal department, I would say 70% to hire. If you want to hire a legal, then you need to have 70% of the team Saudis should be Saudis. Another thing is the time for bringing expats to Saudi Arabia. Still, it takes, now with the companies and the government also starting to minimize the time. But for some nationality, like Indian as an example, it takes from 3 to 6 months to bring them on board, which is really challenging for some companies. So these things need to be considered before we relocate people to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, a lot of points. Then can we speak about the hiring process as well?
Yeah, when it comes to the hiring process for expats, as I mentioned, there is a lot of things need to be done before bringing expats to Saudi. For example, if we will talk about the hiring process, first the employer has to apply through Qiwa itself to get approval for the visa, the work visa that he want to issue. They want to issue based on their also Saudization ratio and from Qiwa itself. And the company, after that, once they get the visa, the company has to create an employment contract and get it attested from Chamber of Commerce and Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Saudi Arabia. These processes take from 1 to 2 weeks. And then it will go to a next step, which is the visa the application process itself in the country that we are planning. The company is planning to bring the candidate from. For one of the main things that need to be considered, that the company has to authorize an agency, visa agency in the home country. And for example, if we are planning to hire from Russia, as an example, the company has to hire an agency in Russia to help the employee, the candidate, to process his work visa. The attestation process, it will take time. For some countries, they did a lot of improvement, like for UK and US. Now the attestation process, it takes 2 weeks. But for India, as an example, it takes us 3 months to 6 months sometimes. Depends on the university itself and the response that they got from the university. Once the candidate got his visa, he will be able to travel within 90 days to Saudi Arabia. And then there is also a task and things need to be done in Saudi upon his arrival, such as the Iqama process, uh, which he needs to go through a medical test and apply for a medical insurance and do a different if he is holding an engineering a degree as an example, he has to register in Saudi of Engineering Council, which will take at least 2 to 3 weeks to complete all this process. And once the candidate or the employee got his iqama, he will be able to open his bank account. He will be able then to bring his family and then rent a house as well.
And let's say if the person who is a resident of United Arab Emirates is planning to be relocated to Saudi, how difficult it is or how easy it is to make the visa for this person?
If the person has an ID, an Emirati ID or residency in Emirat, and with a tested degree, that will take 3 weeks at maximum to come to Saudi Arabia. It is now because Ministry, the Saudi Embassy opened an agency in the embassy itself called Mushar that help to expedite the process, especially if the person has an ID and he's living in GCC countries like Bahrain, UAE, Qatar, or Kuwait as well.
So pretty good in terms of the timing, yeah.
Yeah, the company will feel really lucky if they have if they find a candidate and living in any of the Gulf countries now.
Yeah,
because the process it's really smooth and fast comparing if he is in his home country.
So basically, if the company has offices in UAE and Saudi, maybe it's even easier to get the visa, residency visa in UAE first, and then apply for the Saudi one.
Yeah, and some companies, what they do, if they find a candidate, for example, in India, and the visa process will take longer, like more than 3 months, they bring people on board with a visit visa until the attestation process is complete in his home country, and then he will travel back to do the work visa.
Interesting. Yeah, I think if we have any other questions on the hiring and recruiting process, yeah, we can also check them. Not, maybe let's move on. So also I think important question is compensation and benefits and understanding how to plan the budgets for the employees, yeah, for the team. Maybe
we will talk here about the general things, main things that need to be considered when talking about compensation and benefit, and then we'll give an example. So for example, and here compensation and benefit, there is some compensation, some benefit the company must provide, such as employment visa or work visa. And if the contract is a family status, then the company has to provide also family visa for their employee. Medical insurance, either Saudi or non-Saudi, they have to provide it for the employee and their family as well if they are in Saudi Arabia. The salary itself, it's combined of 3 elements: basic salary, transportation, and housing allowances. Also, the company has to keep on their mind that end of service if need to be paid and need to be also calculated in terms of the HR budget. Social insurance contribution or GUSI itself, as we mentioned earlier, it's 11.75 as a contribution from the company if they hire Saudis, 2% if they hire non-Saudi.
And is it paid? Is it paid on an annual or only on the monthly basis?
On a monthly basis.
On a monthly, okay.
Yeah, and the company also will pay on behalf of the employee, and then they will deduct it from the employee's salary. This is the practice in Saudi. Annual ticket to the home country. This is for expats, not for Saudis. And some companies are paying annual ticket allowance instead of providing annual ticket. Annual leave, as I mentioned before, it's 21 working days as per the law, but the practice now in Saudi, it is 25 working days per year. Sick leave also 30 days, it should be fully paid, and then it will be after 30 days, there is a different calculation for payment for the sick leave days. The public holidays should also fully paid by the companies. And on another hand, that we have also optional benefits that the company it's not obliged to pay, such as schooling allowance, company card, and performance bonus. But the practice now in Saudi, most of the international companies are paying schooling, company cards, and performance bonus as well.
Okay. So here we explore basically the budget calculation based on the exact example. For example, if it's expatriate who is working under the business development role, and how would be his split and the annual cost for the company. And speaking about also general salary ranges, like I don't know if it's correct to compare, let's say, to UAE market, because many companies probably have some experience working here and then they move there just to understand the market a bit better.
Well, in Saudi now, if we will talk about labor law, there is a minimum wage for Saudis. But the practice from the companies, the companies now are doing levels or different levels for one department. Like for example, entry level. If we will talk about finance as an example, the entry level right now, they try to align it with the Saudi labor law minimum wage, but so they put it 4,000, and just the employee who will go to this level must have the diploma. So there is a certain elements in terms of entry compensation and the job roles itself. For engineering position, as an example, from 3 to 5 years, because of it is like required, and every company are focusing on increasing the Saudization in engineering. The salary for the entry level, as an example, started from 17,000 riyal. So it is varies based on the job role, job definition, and the number of years of experience. But now, public investment fund, they issue a lot of projects, and they are also targeting Saudis, and they are giving a lot of salaries to these Saudis. Like the salaries they are providing is high comparing with the international companies. So it's like the finding a Saudi candidate is really a challenge for most of the companies right now and they need to cope with the changes immediately. The companies need to review their compensation. The company needs to retain the employees by develop them, putting different training programs.
That's probably what would be expected from the side of the job seekers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And also maybe speaking about recruiting overall, like you mentioned, it can be a bit challenging to find, let's say, Saudi talents, but still there are a lot of highly skilled people, right, who want to work, who want to grow. And I guess there are still a lot of opportunities even for the new coming companies in the market to attract such talents. What do you think?
I totally agree. The demand is high for to hire Saudis, and also Saudi national themselves. They are working hard to develop their skills. It's not just the initiatives that the Saudi didn't just give initiatives to the companies to come and help them to let the employees let the Saudis grow and retain them. We also have a lot of initiatives to let the Saudi themselves develop their skills. So we are in between as the Saudi government are creating a lot of initiatives for both the companies and the employees in order to let them cope with the changes and also to make them ready for to the market. And I would say we have a lot of Saudi national they are talented, educated, high educated, and they have the skills. It is just we need to work with the companies to define them, to find them, and we need to help the companies to also identify their job responsibilities, because what I saw right now in the market that most of the company generate a public job responsibilities and they post it in social media or in their website. But the real specific skills that they are looking for, they didn't mention it. And the candidate they receive, it's not up to what they are looking for. So it is one-to-one. If you define your job responsibility, if you create your job advertisement clearly and looking for the skills, the right candidate will come and apply for you.
But let's say from your experience, if you post a job in LinkedIn for, let's say, Saudi positions, let's say, do you get to have many applicants?
We receive a lot of application from Saudi. Now the Saudis, before, I would say, I will just give you an example. Saudi people are very close to their family. And that is the challenge for them to move to another city. But now with these initiatives, with these objectives and with the vision, 2030 vision, they said we are open. We are open to go and work in a different city in Saudi Arabia. And also they are very keen to get an international assignment or international job. It's just how the company will look at them as a Saudi and how they will develop them. And then for some companies, and as I mentioned before, unfortunately, they hire Saudi just for Saudization purpose. They don't look to their skills, which is wrong. You can't work if you don't get the right candidate. You cannot operate very professional or very well, especially within the initiatives that the government are giving.
Yeah, exactly. And there are such positions which are related to, let's say, business development, sales, especially important for the companies that have recently entered the Saudi market. I guess for this type of roles, it's extremely crucial to have a Saudi representative from your side, Saudi employee who will help to establish contacts, connections, right? And help the company move forward within the market.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think most of, yes, our content is finished. Yeah, we are on time, which is great. So if someone has any questions, please let us know. If you would like to present yourself, to maybe like share some experiences that you had in Saudi or questions that you might be having, we will be happy to answer as well. And yeah. So meanwhile, Zinat, maybe you can briefly also highlight about the services which we can support the new clients, the companies in the ground in Saudi.
Yeah, we can help the companies to set up a business in Saudi Arabia, and also we help with the talent acquisition and out-staffing as well. We do also the HR operations stuff like payroll, day-to-day activity, employee relation, visa process. we also help companies to create their people strategy and talent solutions.
So basically, everything that the company might need to be feeling, confident in moving on to the Saudi market. There is a question. Can you kindly share your business details to reach you once we have requests for setting up companies in Saudi? Yes, for sure. So here are the details. So you can start the initial conversation right here, and we will take it further accordingly.
And we are going to share the presentation with all of you, right,
Yeah,
Karina?
we are preparing like a short guide, basically with all the important information that you need to know, starting getting into the Saudi market, which will have this content from the presentation, and we'll also share with the contact details as well. Yeah, I don't really see much questions as of now. So yeah, I think if anybody has any like more questions or concerns, please feel free to contact us like later on, WhatsApp, email, anything is possible. We'll be happy to support, to consult, and thank you very much for your time being with us today, listening for the details about the Saudi market. And thank you so much, Zinab. I think it was really interesting and helpful. And yeah, we
For
hope
having me
to
as well.
bring more businesses to Saudi.
I hope so. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Then have a good evening, everyone. We will
Thank
be
you.
closing
Bye-bye.
the meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye.